Hey, welcome back, listeners. It is Dem Boys Watch Footy. Hope everybody is doing well this Monday before tax day in the U.S. Hope everybody is getting those done. We actually are missing one of our guys because of the taxes, but we do have a pretty great group of guys today. We have Waj and a really good friend of the show, Dinesh, is back on with us. Gents, how you guys doing today?
Good man, good man. Good to be back. Happy before tax day eve, as they like to call it in some places. I don't know where, but some places.
Hope it's good for some folk. I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I made sure to get all of that done, and I was quite upset with what the IRS is saying that I need to pay them, and I was like, bro, this is not a good place to be. But we keep pushing forward, you know. and
You better pay the government, man. When they come for you.
that was back in January. We're good. We're good. But we are good. I hope everybody is having a great time from this past weekend. Wanted to make sure that we keep pushing those numbers up. Our last episode that actually aired on the channel, we hit over 15K views on YouTube. So I want to thank everybody again for giving us some love and support. If you can make sure to hit those likes, keep sharing it out. Join our Discord as well. We have one, still trying to get those numbers up. But love to connect, make sure that everybody's getting that good news about Dem Boys Watch Footy. All right, gents, we are about to jump into it. We had a very good weekend back within the Premier League for some. Dinesh is the only supporter of a team that actually won a match this weekend on the actual line. But it was some interesting things. Liverpool are about 6 points away if Arsenal drop, as they are in second place right now. They're about 6 points away from locking up the league. So I'm turning it over to Dinesh first. How's it going over there, being in La La Land, winning right now? And how do you feel about the team's prospects to close out within the next 3 games?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we didn't even get to Mo Salah signing his contract.
We didn't even get to that one
Yes,
yet.
indeed.
So you're just having a
Congratulations.
good weekend. God.
Yeah, I mean, I think we deserve it after. I mean, we lost like 3 games, was it 2, 3 games in a row, and they were coming the toughest game to lose as well. I think we're looking so good in the Champions League. That was looking like we could progress. We faced PSG, which I'm sure we'll get to as well at some point, but we got absolutely battered by them, and deservedly so. I think they pushed us out, they knocked us out. But yeah, it's looking because it's great to see us looking consistent again. It was nice to have that. We've not played like I don't think we've played like amazingly this season. There's been very few games where I've been like, wow, this is like we've blown teams away, right? When we first blew teams away, during the Klopp era with Mane, Salah, Firmino, and Coutinho when he was first there, right? I'm not feeling any of that like buzz where we're just absolutely blowing teams away. It seems to be more of a measured approach, which I'm okay with. It's calm. Yeah, I mean, I guess we hopefully, I don't want to say yet until it's done because we've had too many heartbreaks, but we're very close now to lifting, the Premier League in front of the fans for a very, very long time. So yeah, it's looking good. I said, if you guys lose on this weekend, the Premier League, I think if Arsenal lose, then I think if and we beat Leicester, we tied it up, I think, this weekend, right?
I thought it was six solely because
Yeah.
mathematically we are still in it because of Arsenal, the draw merchants of the season, currently has 12 draws on the year out of the 30.
12.
Yeah, 32 fixtures played so far, 12 draws this year.
Then again, 12. Like how there's only one other team that even has 12. Like the next team that has 12 draws is Brighton in 10. Ugh, guys.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Quite, but I mean, Arsenal had some wins,
Yeah.
17 wins, 12 draws, only 3 defeats. Liverpool has 23 wins, 7 draws, 2 defeats. So we all know that PGMOL and some of the refereeing decisions have been tough, but we cannot say Arsenal, they could have overcome some things you can't, but as well, the recruitment ideas, both in the beginning of the season and January, weren't strong. So that's where some of the blame is going to be. We're seeing the fruits of the labor within the Champions League, but that's for another topic. Right now, just talking within the Prem, for these 38 fixtures, I am not happy about what I'm seeing from Arsenal, but got to give Liverpool credit. Everybody went into the season thinking that they were not going to be able to compete, especially after falling and fizzing out last year within Klopp's last year. And Arne Slot, he came in, he allowed the team to still rest on their laurels, but then as well elevate, especially game by game tactics wise. He was able to create a lot of amazing things, especially right after halftime. your squads were always just pushing forwards. There hasn't been a collapse, and I don't see there being a collapse. So I got to give the kudos to Liverpool and all their fans.
Absolutely. I think one thing though to say is that our expectations at the start, we were getting a little excited. If you'd said at the start of the season we'd be, so strong in the Premier League, I would have taken that hands down, right? Honestly, my expectations were where we got to in Champions League, to be honest, maybe not finishing top of top of the kind of qualifying, the early stages, the group stages. To actually then have a really, really strong Premier League performance and winning is insane in his first season. So Slot, there's something special. Salah signing on. Hopefully Van Dijk is next. Trent, I think it's almost certain he's gone. I think we can talk about Trent as well if we want, but he's I think we talked about this last time. I think his mind's pretty set on Madrid, which we know. I think we knew that from his conversations about trying to win the Ballon d'Or, etc., etc. So, and you can't blame him. Again, he's been a strong servant for us. But it's nice to see. I said, Salah and then Van Dijk staying, and then we've got to, I think for a future topic, we have to think about succession planning for Salah. But I think with him being there for 2 years. We can really really have someone, a youngster, come in and Salah take him under his wing and then have that a gradual kind of progression.
And it's going to be interesting, just speaking on Salah, because this was just such a monumental season. It's been such a monumental season for him. Can he repeat it next year? Is he going to do even better? Will you stay the same? Will it go even? Will he? And this is by Salah standards. Will he be a little bit worse than the season, which can't be that bad for a player of his standard? But to your point, will Liverpool and Slot bring on a new striker? Sorry, and his new replacement in the left wing, and Coach Salah. I think there's a lot of interesting things we're going to say to Liverpool this year. I'm bitter about all of it, but let's see what you guys can even, let's say you guys start next year, because you guys are going real strong right now.
We could do a swap with you guys, to be honest, like with Arsenal. Arsenal really, I think Arsenal really have a strong, on left-footed. You guys really are busting out the left-footed players right now, right? So it's that's not a problem for you guys. You've got a strong flow of that. But yeah, with us, I think generally, finding left-footed wingers is obviously they're more of a rarity. So yeah, it's going to be interesting who we get. We are going to need someone to play to play back up to Salah. But hey, maybe you don't need a left. Real Madrid don't play with a left-footed winger, right? So they have Rodrigo, right?
Rodrigo's on the right, but Vinny used to be able to do, Rodrigo and Vinny used to be able to do the switch, but ever since Mbappe came, their team has just been quite unbalanced, and we'll bring them up a little bit later on the show. Yeah. But yeah, any final words for Liverpool? I know the succession plan is definitely going to be something. Looking at the squad now, you're going to need some freshening up next season. I know right now Jota is probably looking to be gone. Your other
You think Jota's going? You think Jota's going?
A lot of people are starting. I'm starting to see within the because the transfer window is going to open up a little bit earlier. They're starting to talk about just departures and things that you're going to be freshening up. So
I don't honestly, I've not heard anything on Jota going, because he's when he's on fire, he's probably Liverpool's best finisher at the moment. Nunez, I think, is more likely to go Saudi, right? Yeah. Pure chaos. If we can get some money, get some money back for him, it would be absolutely amazing. But again, I do like him, and I think he does try his best, but he's just not up there for Liverpool from a Liverpool standpoint in terms of Liverpool quality. So I think a striker is going to be a big priority. I don't know why Delap's name hasn't been mentioned in Liverpool circles. I think but I think we're going to face some competition, honestly, for number 9. And when we talk about Arsenal, we can definitely talk about number 9s for him. I don't know why Delap hasn't been mentioned in the Arsenal kind of spectrum as well, but he's someone which could be bought at a discount. He can finish really, really well, good physicality. Obviously unproven, it would be a risk at a larger club, but he's someone that I would put a punt on. But I think Liverpool need an established striker, right? Isaac is one, obviously, as well, right? So that would be the dream, and he's a Liverpool fan, so I've heard. So that would be, he'd be perfect, but I'm not sure if FSG are dishing out that kind of money right now. But one more thing I'd mention in terms of shout out to Liverpool, I think, and the game against West Ham. Alisson, my goodness. We lose that game without Alisson. I
Very
mean,
true.
100%.
he is just another. He's just on another planet.
Would you keep Allison or would you keep Kelleher?
Well, you keep Alisson, absolutely. Keller's
Okay.
going. I mean, we have a.
Yeah, he's leaving, but
He's
if
leaving
you
the
had the
summer,
choice
no.
now, think about all of the injuries Allison has had. That's why I'm asking.
It's a good question. It's a good point. That's his only negative. But I was talking about this with my wife actually. It's because he tries so hard. He's like Alisson is like, you know, he's athletic. He's really giving his all, and you know, his shoulders are gonna face some damage with the amount of work he's kind of putting in there. So, you know, when Alisson is fit, he is. I'm a little bit biased there, but I think that he's the best keeper in the world. But we are living in an era where there are a lot of good goalkeepers. Courtois, the Atletico keeper,
Black, yep.
as well, who's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have
Raya.
Raya, Somna over at Inter. I mean, newer, even though he's older, he still can block. Yeah, we do have some really good goalkeepers, but we're seeing
a Villa even. Pantomime villain, but I mean penalties. He's obviously amazing.
penalties amazing. That's one thing.
Yeah.
We need Raya to figure that out.
Yeah, you can get into careless heads, but I mean, you know, look at the spanking they just got, you know, last week. So
yeah, but if you look at some teams that need keepers, you got the Tottenhams, you got the Chelseas, like their seasons come down to having a good keeper or not. I mean, we're seeing that with Arsenal. Raya has completely saved around like 9 to 12 points just for us alone.
Oh yeah, he's great. You guys really that was a really good move. We talked about Arsenal as well by Arteta, you know, he's been great for you guys. That was a smart buy.
For sure. Yeah,
Alisson, gotta give props to Alisson on that one as well.
Love it.
I should mention one thing that I gave them, which we can move on, just on West Ham. I was going to say, like, I didn't realize how good Lucas Paqueta was. Like, he's sick.
Yeah, he's just all of this. The large cloud of this betting scandal is kind of just taking away from his entire game. What we saw with Newcastle, with Tonali, once he got back, it took him a little bit longer to get settled within English Premier League soccer. And then suddenly, he's been smashing it in. Paqueta, he was always really good. And the scandal, whatever is going on with him and the FA, is just kind of taking him out. He's finally had a chance to just like settle, decompress from all of that, and he's just focusing on ball. And you see it right now. Killing it. Like, he was actually good enough to be on the Brazil national team. Even though that squad is not as great as it usually is, he's still a very strong focal point. So completely agree with you.
He's definitely going to get some bids this summer. Let's see if West Ham can keep him.
He's 27 though, right? It's a prime age. He's not. I mean, again, I love him at Liverpool, but I think he's out of the FSG model. Typically, pie players 23 and younger, and then they buy these, you know, flair players. Well, we have bought those kind of fair players as well, who, you know, in their late 20s as well. So, you know, potentially he could be one. But his passing, that technique and just his balance, everything. But he's still got those charges, right? They're still over his head. They're still not.
It's not over yet. That's why he's going to be staying at West Ham for a little bit.
Let's keep this train rolling within the Premier League. Let's go to club. Within the second place of the table, we have Arsenal. A 1-1 draw with Brentford this past weekend. Waj, I'll leave it to you. Tell us what you felt about the match.
I mean, it was honestly to be expected. Arteta not only just like he rested 5 players off the bat. It was a very defensive team. There was really very little attack in it, even with Trossard up front and Martinelli and Nwaneri. But you know, it was. I feel like I didn't even bother going to the pub for it. I was just like, I'm going to stay home and watch this match. Like, it's going to be a slog. And Brentford are fighting right now. They're fighting for position. So it was to be expected that Arteta was going to bring on a bunch of the subs, give minutes to people, give rest to other players, and Brentford wouldn't come out of the gate. And it was exactly as I thought it was going to go, to a draw. It was disappointing. I really hope that bringing on some of the first team starters, you know, would have changed it in the second half, but that didn't come. Odegaard was still, he's been stale, but I'm glad people were rested. I mean, that's the main thing I take from the match. I mean, it was a shame that we got Jorginho now injured because he's a backup for what's coming up this week. But other than that, I mean, honestly, it looked like also a team that's accepted that we're going to be second and we're going to take it. And Liverpool off to the races. Like, let's let you guys just have it. Okay, let's focus on bigger goals. We've never won Champions League. What if this could be the year? And if we beat Real Madrid, then that already, will give us the impetus and the fire that we need to get on and keep moving through the Champions League. So I think at this point, like, that's where we're at with the Prem, that we're going to be playing. If we can make it through again, we'll be playing our second team guys, giving them some minutes, and we're going to put everything in the Champions League. And honestly, I'm fine with it. I've accepted it. Liverpool, you can have it. I'm done.
We'll take it. Yeah, sure. Deal.
Yeah, I have nothing really to say about that except for what a run from Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Really loving to see the evolution this year of him going from the sixth role in that holding position to having more of a freedom to just roam around. He's actually starting to be able to score goals. We saw the two miraculous goals that have been talked about ad nauseum across the entire football landscape. So he's doing his thing. Partey was able to score the goal. I'm still worried.
That was a dope goal. I mean, even when I saw it coming to him, I was like, "Oh God, here we go again." He's gonna sky it. Let me give my flowers to Partey. That was a fantastic goal.
Very
I
true.
do appreciate. That's one thing I can really like.
Yeah.
All right, just do more of that until you leave us.
Yeah, but our bugaboo again. Referee is not calling things. Nordergaard on his scissor tackle on Martinelli. That is one where you still look at it and you're like, you have VAR and you do not have the opportunity to change that from a yellow to a red. People are going to say it's a soft call, but anytime you go into a scissor type of takedown with someone's leg and ankle and you're falling on the back of it and their body, like something that we see in the NFL. Whenever you pull someone backward with a horse collar tackle, you're going to break something. We're very lucky that he didn't break anything. But again, just like one wrong call has changed the entire dynamic of the match. Brentford fought back. Got to give them credit for that. It was to be expected. We all understand what the team is going through and what they're really looking at. It's sad to say that this team has no real firepower off the bench unless we're starting our players that we're resting. But you just keep on pushing. I'm happy with, not happy because I would love to be winning on all fronts, but taking what we can get right now. And that's where my head's at with it.
And it's what's so sad is, and I want him to do well, but when we have Trossard up front playing on number 9, I'm like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? So we're just throwing spaghetti on the wall, are we? Is that what we're doing? And that's where we're at, though. This is the biggest debate about Arsenal this year: is if we hadn't had our front line destroyed, could we have won the Premier League further? They had made proper decisions and wise decisions. In the Christmas transfer window, could we have made it through further in the Prem? If we didn't lose that, if the one glaring factor is the front line. I mean, we are depleted. Once we lose 2 players from our starting 11, it is a heart attack. And I'm honestly surprised we made it as far as we have. And it just shows the determination of the squad and how much they're in it to win it. But I mean, there's only so much you can do. And obviously, we're going to get into this with Real Madrid, but there's only so much you can do, with the depleted squad that we have. Apparently, what we can do is beat Real Madrid. That's the silver lining there.
For sure. I mean, one thing that I'll try to end us off with is next year, outside of having a healthy striker, Arsenal really need to start getting more supporting role players, especially within the forward spaces. We were down to start the season. You have 26 areas to fill within players before the season starts. Arsenal went into the season with 22. So you were already then you get to January, players getting injured, players are coming back from injury later in the year. You had your striker literally running on fumes and you decide to do nothing. Then he gets hurt in February and it's just even more glaring. Well, another title rival at the time decided to do something. And you see kind of the fruits of their labor. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. But that's just how it goes when you're playing a long season and really pushing forward to make sure that you're playing on all cylinders throughout all competitions. There are some things that need to be done and some things that haven't been taken care of. And let's just make sure next time when you get in this position, you don't mess it up. Don't lose your opportunity to close it.
Realistically, though, how many players do you think, especially on the front, but how many players do you think Arsenal need to buy next year?
We say this every year, at least.
I know, but this is wish list. This is hypothetical.
It's at least 5. We need a new center defensive mid because Partey is leaving. Jorginho is also leaving, and I don't see a replacement coming through the academy. We need at least a new left winger. We definitely need a striker. I would also say a backup striker because we have nobody to play there, and I do not see Havertz and whoever the striker to be named is going to be the only things that we can have for a full season. You can look back to the days where we had Aubameyang, Lacazette, as well as another striker under them to be able to play those cup matches. Because if you're competing in 4 competitions, you need at least 3 players to kind of go back and forth. So definitely 5. Definitely 5. Because we all know Arsenal somehow are going to get another left back and Arsenal somehow getting another goalkeeper. So,
But somehow we imagine turn left backs into strikers and goalkeepers into midfielders. I mean, it's what Arteta does. It's his mad genius, man.
yeah.
You never know. You never know where the next stars are going to come from.
I'm tired of that mad genius. Just let players play in their positions.
The ball boy's going to become our next captain. You don't know.
Yeah. And I would love to hear from
That's
the
the
viewers.
process.
Viewers and listeners, let us know who do you look for in a player that's coming for Arsenal. Love to hear it. All right, let us keep moving forward. In terms of timing, we are going to start rolling through some of the Premier League pieces. We have Manchester City defeating Crystal Palace 5-2. Anything that really stood out for you in that match other than Crystal Palace full capitulation of being 2-0? That was Kevin De Bruyne, just a classic. So anything from you guys on that one?
Farewell, right, from Kevin De Bruyne now. This is his swan song, right? He's about to leave and get his paycheck, so just enjoying it while he can. So, fair play to him. He's a class player, been great for Man City. They're going to miss him. So it'll be interesting to see who they get to replace him, actually, as well. Man City are interesting.
How do you replace De Bruyne? I mean, that's such an icon especially for City. Like, that's big shoes to fill.
Very big. We'll see what happens there. Aston Villa defeated Southampton 3-0. Everton with the big upset against Nottingham Forest, 1-0 over them. Right now, Newcastle is very closely gaining ground on that 3rd place. Now that Nottingham is really hitting a rough patch of their season. I'm really hopeful that they kind of get it back together, but to make sure that they at least get one of these 5 slots, anything can happen with these 6 matches left, especially with Newcastle playing tomorrow. Their game in hand with Crystal Palace, not tomorrow, Wednesday. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Leicester City and Brighton drew 2-2. I predicted this on Friday. This would be a Brighton 4-0 defeat. Leicester hadn't scored in 4 weeks, and somehow they get 2 goals out of nowhere. So we'll see what happens there. Chelsea Ipswich Town. I know you guys have something for this one. What is going on?
Yo, I said this last week. I said they were going to start, Chelsea was going to start just putting the brakes on this. We were going to start seeing this. They're getting tired. They are disorganized. And that's what you get. You get an Ipswich draw for that.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, Chelsea should be killing these Champions League spots. This is the most exciting part of the Premier League actually right now, I'd say. Look, the relegation's pretty much done at this stage.
Yep.
That Champions League spots are getting spicy though. Like that's interesting. You got your Villa, Newcastle. I mean, who wants it, right? Like Chelsea should be just again their squad. The coach is decent, right? I mean, it has to come from the very very top. It's just absolute disorganization. We talk about chaos with Nunes. I think Chelsea are define chaos. They should be far and ahead of this. Cole Palmer was at the start of the season arguably the best player on the planet. His form's dipped. Obviously still an amazing player, but Sancho's goal was amazing as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
fantastic.
But he did it against the relegation side, and that was his first goal at home since he's been at Chelsea. So I don't know. It doesn't look like they're trying to keep him.
Who's gonna have him like Sancho? I mean,
yeah.
Well, you guys, wait, Arsenal.
No, we're good.
Wait, no?
Good. Don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby.
I mean, he's not a bad player. No. So anyway, when I was, we speaking about, we just spoke about Arsenal, but we can. And one thing I was going to mention is Koeman, right, from Bayern Munich. Apparently, there was rumors that. So you guys, for some reason, have trouble finding like right-footed wingers. But Sterling, for whatever reason, is. I mean, again, I think he's past it, which is insane to think. He's only 29, 30. He's only just turned 30, right?
He's older, but yeah.
He's like 30.
Right? Yeah. I don't know
He's
what's
been
happening
playing
with.
forever. It fails.
Yeah, his ego, unfortunately, I don't know what he was been badly advised. It's just been, just get your head down and bloody work, man. Like Sterling is unfortunately there, and you've got Martinelli, who at times is devastating, but just the consistency with him is and injury prone, right? Is the problem. So you only got those two, right, on like speedy wingers.
Yep.
Even though there's an abundance of those type of players. So Sancho being one of them, he's got the quality at times. Like at Dortmund, he was doing well. Had those great seasons when he was back there as well, right, on loan. So there's definitely a player there.
I'm gonna
He
stop
just
you
needs to
there.
play.
Solely because we know Mikel Arteta does not like what we saw with Pepe. He had the flair, he had the drive, he did not know how to tactically fit into Arteta's system. I do not see Jadon Sancho picking up and watching a bunch of film to be able to fit in a part of this system that Arteta has. If we're talking about Marino being able to play the number 9, and he's playing it well, and we have Calafiori sometimes going up there as a backup.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to learn, right? Sancho's gonna do something because he's gonna be without a club. Like
No, he'll still be at Manchester United. He'll just be hated for a little bit by their team. So we'll see what
You
happens.
think Cameron's gonna play him? You think?
He's not going to play him.
No, I don't think either of those situations. He's gonna leave. He'll become a journeyman, and hopefully he'll find it. Maybe he'll go to Turkey. Like a lot of these guys end up at Galatasaray, and then they refine their form.
I like the
in
arc
Turkey.
excuse. I hope he doesn't go to Saudi or something, and has another
You got to
season at a top.
look at these wages that these players are on. That's why they've only been able to leave on loan deals. They haven't been able to leave on actual deals away from the club solely because they have way higher wages than they need to be. So we'll see with them. But continue to move forward.
All right, fine. You don't want him. You don't want Sancho. I hear you.
Yeah. Wolves defeating Tottenham 4-2. That was just comical errors, like we were talking about. That was just really sad to see with their goalkeeping. It was real bad. So it was real bad.
It's just like, as a person who truly hates Tottenham, at this point, it's just like, man, like it's already dead.
Yeah, you gotta pick this man up. Yeah.
Come on, man. Just the worst season ever. And I said it last week, like, what's gonna happen to Salah? That's
saying
like
commercial appeal is too large for them to let him leave just yet.
Man, they better go on a shopping spree, including a new manager. They're gonna finish the season, honestly, if Wolves beat them and Wolves are below them, so Wolves are 16th. They could finish close to relegation. They're not going to be relegated, but they could finish, 17th. It's not crazy.
It's within the cards, but we'll see what happens.
They played so well, right?
Yeah.
Injury crisis.
Well, they're actually no longer injured. All of their players came back, and they're looking like this. That's the problem. Their team doesn't look... Yeah, very true. Let's leave it at that.
Why would we try to support this? It's Tottenham.
Yeah, this is in their blood. Newcastle...
Tottenham's Day.
Yeah. Newcastle 4, Manchester United 1. Just a battering. Also goalkeeping issues. We'll see what happens with Andre Onana for the Europa League tie against Lyon later this week. But yeah, Manchester United, they looked strong in the beginning, and then they just gave it up. They gave up the yams. So I don't know what else to say about that.
I know, that's an absolute joke. At the moment, as a Liverpool fan, obviously, I'm loving this. It's ridiculous what's going on at United. I'm going to save this while I can, because who knows next season, right? Amram might turn this around. I have a feeling this is like rotten to its core. The club is Manchester United, and as I said, as a Liverpool fan, we experienced many years of pain of leadership at the top, right? Ownership just making comical decisions and being the laughing stock of the Premier League. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this while I can. I missed the actual close rivalry. I'm not going to lie. With Manchester United, I do miss that. But my goodness, this is ridiculous. What are the players doing? The chat, he was giving it all. What an idiot! He gets bench, doesn't he? And then the replacement.
The replacement is just bad. Yeah,
even worse.
Yeah,
the club is in big turmoil, right? I don't know what's worse. My goodness, Chelsea aren't Man United. I suppose you could say that.
Yeah, every club hits their banter era, and Manchester United is not getting out of theirs anytime soon. That's what I'm
thoroughly in their banter era. Jeez, even Tottenham, okay, but like even Tottenham, you only just won one place above Tottenham. I mean, guys,
Yeah.
it was funny. It was even I didn't even call my friend the other day. I gave him a couple of days just to like, I left him alone, and then it's just like, you guys good? Y'all good? Because they are not okay. And honestly, I don't think Amarim's going to do it. And to your point, I think Onana was.
No, he just he had a chance to chill for a match. That's what
He had a chance
Amarim
to
said.
chill, and no, but Amarim made a horrible decision. There was no time for chilling. This is look. You mean no?
Amarim is showing like, hey, this is what all the years of recruitment that you guys have done. This is the squad that you've created. Even though they were making some points under Ten Hag, this is the entire combination of that to show. And one of my favorite things still to this day is Jose Mourinho talking about investments from the past. And Manchester United's investments from the past, it is looking terrible. So I'm loving it. But they'll get out of it if they actually stick to what they're trying to do. You see what he's trying to play at times. And if they win their Europa League match, they're in the semifinal and they got a chance to somehow claw their way back into Europe.
God, imagine.
Yeah.
That's kind of the biggest cliffhanger, right? Is both Tottenham and Man U can still make it into Champions League despite their god-awful seasons. But only one can make it.
Only one can
make it. Only be one. I cannot wait. I cannot wait, because either way it's going to be a bit comical. Yeah. And there is also even the chance that they can even face each other, as a finale. And that would just, guys, like...
Do they think Ange's going to be fired before then, though? Do you think Tottenham are going to be without
if Tottenham,
imagine the final.
If Tottenham lose Thursday, he's gone.
Who are they going to get in? Like who's at this stage of the season?
No one knows, but he's just gone. He'll be gone. They'll probably bring Ryan Mason back. That'll just be them until the very end, and then they'll figure it out.
And you know what too, because they've got Frankfurt, and then they've got Forest in the next couple of days. So. Yeah, Big Ed. It's only on you now.
Yeah.
This is time. But
last match, Bournemouth defeated Fulham earlier today, 1-0. So, gents, before we leave this roundup, how is the top five? Because Arsenal's defeat of Real Madrid secured the 5th position for the Premier League to have Champions League. Who do you think would be in the top 5? I'll start with you, Dinesh.
Oh, all right. So we have Liverpool, Arsenal, right? Pretty much end on the second. They can't lose that, right? Arsenal cannot give up second, right? We say that. This is Arsenal. So, right. I think Man City make it for sure. I don't know if they'll be third, but they'll definitely have one of them. My heart wants Nottingham Forest to get it, right? And then we have one more, right? And I want Villa to get it. Because I'm from Birmingham. And I do like Brighton.
All right. Wash.
I think I'm just going to echo Dennis's words there, man. I feel like City's going to get it. But honestly, I think the real issue is Forest. And, we spoke about this actually last season, kind of towards the break, of were they going to have enough gas in the tank to make it all the way through? 6 games to the end. Can they do it? Because right now it's tight, Newcastle and City and Chelsea, and everyone's within 3 points of each other. So it's going to come down to these last matches. I would like that. With all that said, I would love for Forest to make it. That would just be amazing. I kind of like it how it is, but I would want City to lose it, if anyone, for Villa.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester City, Aston Villa. I just feel as though Nottingham Forest is going to start faltering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just going to fall completely out. And it's going to be sad.
Romance, Eric. Come on, man.
We are here for facts, not the romance of the game, But love to hear from our listeners. Who do you think is going to be in that top 5? All right, let's get into the Champions League predictions for the week. We got some amazing matches on Tuesday. We have Aston Villa versus PSG, Dortmund versus Barcelona. Who you guys got in those 2 matches? Start with you, Wash.
I've got PSG, but I think it's going to be a hard battle. Villa are going to be playing at home, and yes, they're down by 2 goals, but they showed their resilience. PSG came out swinging in the first leg. I still think Aston Villa have some, have a lot more gas in their tank. And I'm excited to see it. So I want to see it, Villa win it, but it's likely to be PSG. Dortmund, Barca, it's a wrap. I just don't see Dortmund coming back from this. It's 4-0.
Dinesh?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd say for the Villa PSG game, I'd like to see Villa again. Romantic in me would like to see Villa come back from this, at least, maybe draw and be exciting. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think PSG are just going to batter. I think it's going to be a mauling. I think it's going to be 4-0 or something. It's going to be pretty bad. I think the Prince is going to be there, right? Again. And it's I think they're going to crush them. And this PSG, when they get going with Dembele and like goalkeeper Donnarumma, right? And it's just such a strong team, and so that team is just something else. I haven't seen a team like that just dominate when they played us, when they played Liverpool. I haven't seen a team like that just end to end just crush us, and you could see that against it. Villa did really well to get a goal against them, so they are vulnerable on the break. I'm not going to say that, but like just collectively, if there's only so much a team can face that kind of pressure, at some point you will concede. Like if you're always consistent like PSG. So I really think that that's going to be mauling, and then with Dortmund, I don't think there's anything. I mean, a 4-0 scoreline is I don't know, has that ever been? I don't think that's ever been overturned, right? I don't think a 4-0 deficit in the Champions League has ever been overturned.
I almost said
I can't recall one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with PSG. I don't want to see Villa in the next round. I don't want to see Emery say good evening to anybody because for some reason Villa just make it really, really hard for Arsenal. I feel as though PSG Due, that kid is amazing. He's a Neymar region. I can't believe how good he is, especially at that age. You have Barcola, you have Dembele, of course. Like their entire front is just amazing to see. Their midfield, it's crazy to really think about it. Vitinha could not get games at Wolves, and he is bossing the midfield right now for PSG. Him and João Neves. So yeah, I'm going to go with PSG for that one. Yeah. And then I'm going to go with Barcelona over Dortmund. But I can see Dortmund making it a little spicy with 2 early goals. And then we have...
a quick word on Dembele as well, right? I think we have to give kudos. I mean, he's had a tough time, been a bit of a journeyman, right? Did well, was it Dortmund, and then went to Barca, had a tough time there. And he's just been injury prone. I think the main thing with him is just been injuries. But he's one of the most two-footed players in the game right now at the top level. He can do left foot, right foot. I don't even know what foot he is, to be honest. I don't think he knows. But I think in interviews he's been asked, he's like...
he doesn't have one. No, he says he doesn't have one. He's just like, I'm great on both.
Yeah. And he's just so unpredictable. And again, when I saw him, he terrified me. When he played against Liverpool, I was like, this guy's just relentless.
Did you see his penalty against you? He started off on his right, switched to his left. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
What do you do against that?
Yeah, he's some play on when he's on form. So yeah, fair play to him. I'm glad he's
loved because Barcelona did not love him, and he's let it be known how much he didn't enjoy his time there. So, and then we have the other matchups for Wednesday. We have Inter versus Bayern, and we have Arsenal versus Real Madrid. I'll start off and say that I feel as though Inter are going to close it out. That squad is just very tactically well done. I was doing a little bit of a breakdown on understanding like how they play because they were the only teams really, they just play a little bit of a better tactical game against Arsenal. And that was when we were fully healthy and they beat us 1-0 back in the early group stages. So know that team is going to be pretty hard to defeat. And Bayern is limping in. No Musiala means no moving forward for Bayern. I just don't see it. And then Arsenal, Real Madrid. I feel as though Real Madrid is going to win this match 2-1, but Arsenal move forward just based off of aggregate. Let's go to you, Waj. What do you think for those 2 matches?
First and foremost, don't put that bad juju in the air. 2-1. I'll come back to that. I think for Inter and Bayern, I mean, that was a hot fight match, but I agree with you. I think Inter are going to take it. That first goal by Lautaro Martinez was absolutely fantastic. Thomas Mueller, his goal in the 85th was beautiful, but I mean, that's, again, to your point, they don't have Musiala. You've got both Kane and Mueller on, and like they're still struggling to score, whereas just like the Inter's team right now are just so dynamic. They're just such a threat. So yeah, I see Inter taking that one. But as for Real Madrid, Arsenal, I mean, it's going to be the better value. I think we can pull it off. I think we can win it. Will they score against us? I think so. I think now that we're playing on their home turf, so I mean, Arteta's going to drill it in that the boys have to play their absolutely best match. I think it'll be a draw, or at least a win by one goal either side. But yes, Arsenal to go through to the next stage.
I'll start with the easy one first.
Yeah, I think with Inter, I think, yeah, tactically, I've not seen too much of them in all honesty, but what I have seen, they seem to be, and some of the highlights I've seen, again, tactically just super well organized, difficult to beat. Like I think they kind of remind me of Jose Mourinho's team right back in the day, where just difficult to beat. And yeah, I think they've got this. And Bayern Munich, as you said, on form. They just drew against Dortmund, didn't they, last weekend as well? So not coming into it best form. So yeah, I think Inter again just maybe edge it 1-0 or something. So I'm going to be controversial here with the Arsenal, with the Real Arsenal. I don't think this is over. I know we were messaging, Eric. We were saying like how if they'd got the fourth, I think it's done. But with three goals, hey, you talk about Real Madrid. This is Champions League royalty. They've won it how many times?
15.
12, 13, 14? How many times?
15.
15 times. This is not a normal team here. This is like the superheroes or supervillains, however you want to think of them, of the Champions League. As a Liverpool fan, they're my supervillains. I bloody hate playing against them. So it felt so good to beat them. But I don't think this is over. You're talking Bernabeu Stadium. This is going to be.
They're closing the roof for the match too.
Yeah, this could. I think this could be a draw in normal time. Three goals. They could in normal time. And then penalties, it's anybody's game. I want Arsenal to go through, but I just don't think this is done. And this is not, again, any other team, you'd be like, oh, whatever, but this is Real.
This is Real. Completely agree. My only rebut to that is Real Madrid have lost in 11 matches this season. They're not as strong defensively as they normally are, and their team is just imbalanced. We saw it when we were playing. We probably should have scored 5 or 6. That was very much in the toe, but Arsenal didn't have a striker or anybody clinical enough to put those away, because Alaba was getting shredded on that right-hand side by Bukayo Saka. So I feel as though Arsenal are at least going to score in this match. I don't see it being a 3-0 drubbing as you're describing, and then we get to extras. I feel as though Arsenal is going to get at least one within that time period, and it will still be 4-3. So that's.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. I just think if there's an early goal with Real, then that just changes the whole dynamic. Things get nervy.
Completely.
I've been, obviously, Liverpool was being Barca, right? This happened. This is not out the realms of
completely agree.
They're being impossible. So it'll be a great, regardless. I mean, as a neutral, I'd say, but I still favor Arsenal on this one. I'll be supporting Arsenal. It's going to be a great game to watch. And again, it all depends on that first goal. If Real get an early one, it's gonna get very nervy.
Everybody's talking about how VAR is going to be a big one within this. The referees are going to probably try to any tackle, anytime a player goes down, anybody gets touched. Every time Arsenal goes to Spain, something crazy happens. So I'm worried about that. But I trust the team. This is the season right now, and we got to do it. There's nothing else to play for. Play for this.
All out.
Most definitely. I mean, I think that Arteta is just going to be drilling that, and he's been drilling that into the boys since they left the stadium, since they left the Emirates last week. This is it, and they've got to put everything on the pitch for this match, and that's the only way they're going to win it. They're going against, as you said, like the supervillains or superheroes, however you want to put it. And they've done this before. They are used to winning this competition, and they're backs against the wall. But Arsenal rang their bell. Even Miles Lewis-Skelly was ringing bells. I mean, the whole squad was working, especially without a real striker, was working at one of the best levels we've seen in the whole season. So I think if they can come out and repeat that, and they can, especially if they can hold Madrid, especially to the second half, then all right, now we're talking. But they cannot be complacent at any point, and they cannot let Madrid get on the front foot and start pushing them around, because that will just lead to destruction. But, look, we all thought that it was going to be an absolute drubbing at the first match. And look what Arsenal did. So,
yeah.
I think we all got a very good chance.
We thought it was a draw. We thought a draw was very probable, not what we saw.
Yeah. What we saw was complete and utter. I mean, it was the three Spartans versus Xerxes' army, man. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, very true, very true. I would say, to Dinesh's point, when he said 4, I still say if we didn't get that third by Marino, we'd be in a very different conversation. But that third gave us a little bit of breathing room. yes,
And
if
the
they
fact
get
that
a
the third was by Marino with an assist by Skelly, like,
yeah, very
what a
true.
way to do it.
Very true. But I feel as though because of that third, it gives a chance. Because now you're going to have this team of just ballers coming at you full throttle. Somebody's going to have to play defense. And it's like, if Valverde has to drop from he's going to have to play something other than that right back role, because the biggest thing that I saw tactically was when he was not involved in the game, they were not doing. Arsenal had some mishaps, which I'm very worried about is going to happen. Someone's not going to have their head. If what should have happened in the first match, where their best players should have capitalized on our faults, they didn't, and that's what kept us within the match. But hey, this is football. Anything happens. This is what you want to be in, especially going into the Bernabeu trying to knock out a giant. Would love to hear what our listeners and viewers have to say about that. All right, let us get into the spicy fun part of our discussion today. We are going to be talking about the Ballers League. So, the Ballers League was started in Germany by entrepreneur Felix Stark alongside footballers Matt Hummels and Lucas Podolski. And now it's in the UK and upcoming in the US very soon. So, if you haven't heard about the Ballers League, it is comprised of former players, YouTube influencers, as well as other influencers around the globe trying to really get in it. You have some legends like Gary Lineker, John Terry, Luis Figo, though Luis Figo somehow hasn't come up. He's supposed to be managing a team and he hasn't been to a match yet. You have Micah Richards, you have Alan Shearer, Freddie Lundberg, Robert Pires, also been playing as coaches or substitutes. And then as well with some of the stars that they have, you have Dave, who manages one team. You have the YouTube group The Sidemen, a very funny group of guys that are doing it. And then with the US, only two people so far have been Ronaldinho and iShow Speed are going to be confirmed for the US version that's going to be taking place either end of this year or beginning of next year. Now, currently within the UK, you have the Baller League that has been taking place. I've been reading over that table, but just the base level of rules. The top 4 teams in the league will qualify for the playoffs in mid-June. 2 semifinals and a final champion decided at the very end. One thing that makes this very cool is that each match is live streamed with YouTuber Trunks hosting a weekly show. So far, it's been likened to the likes of Gerard Piqué's Kings League in Spain, and that's been a very great new type of way to introduce people into football. So far, numbers-wise that have been coming out for the Baller League has seen that 650,000 people have watched for the last 3.5 weeks watching the actual matches, which is pretty great for a league that is just starting up. Now, here are the rules of the Baller League, and there are a lot. I'm only going to go with just the basics. Each half is 15 minutes, making a match of 30 minutes. Each team will have a squad of 12 players. Games will be played in a 6-a-side format on a smaller indoor pitch. Now, there are small little tweaks called rule twists that they introduced during the final 3 minutes of each half. Now, some of those rule twists that come in are 3v3s, long range goals counting as double, and goalkeepers not allowed to use their hands. If there's a penalty, they use MLS style 1-on-1 penalties. And this is MLS back in the 90s when that first started off. It was a great idea. I still feel as though normal football needs to bring that back, but that's on me. So, gents, knowing and seeing some of these matches, especially because they're televised on Mondays, what have you seen so far? What have you liked about it? What have you not liked about it? What do you think has the growth options or opportunities for this league? I want to start with you on this one.
So, I mean, I've only been able to catch a few matches, but it's fun. It's fast paced. They've got the celebrity angle to it. It's very much, I think it's very much easy to liken it to the Big Three, Ice Cube's basketball league here in the States. I'm so happy to see the legend, the GOAT for me, Ian Wright, one of Arsenal's finest, have a team, though I think it's the Wembley Rangers with Chloe Kelly, current player for Arsenal's women's team. I think it's great to see all these celebrities who are backing the league, that they're giving opportunities to, semi-pros and people that we wouldn't see televised watching these things. And if we did, we were watching them, on our phones. It's fun to watch. You can watch a lot of games really quickly, and it's only the beginning. I think this is going to be something that's going to pick up quite fast. Football culture adopts these types of leagues, I think, very quickly, especially now in today's internet age, when we can all connect to these types of leagues and types of competitions. So I'm excited to see how it goes, and most importantly, I want to see how this translates from Europe over to the States. That's going to be the big. I think that's going to be the next exciting thing. And then how will that now create a new ecosystem of football between all these different leagues between Europe and the States here?
Yeah, one thing I'm really looking at is because it's indoor, and I think about like other indoor sports that have sometimes not really pushed off. I used to work for Crumpy Sports, and one thing that was in our ecosystem was the Colorado Mammoth, the indoor lacrosse league. Now, the Colorado Mammoth won a lot, and so they had a lot of notoriety within the city of Denver. But outside of that, unless you knew lacrosse or you knew about indoor soccer within your own town, you really, really know about it. I used to do some futsal intramurals in college, and that's kind of like some very fun stuff. And being able to play a match or watch a match for 30 minutes is pretty cool. It gives a very new, unique way to kind of experience the match, especially with, we know who they are really pushing for, Gen Z, especially with the amount of influencers and stars that they have. You have legends that are a part of the game, but everybody really wants to see, like, okay, we know that Chunks is going to be on a game. We know that right now KSI is going to be the main front man for the entire thing. You might even see Logan Paul just like do something within the US version of this. I'm loving like the energy, the fresh viewpoint that it's giving, as well as some of these role things that they're throwing in is a very cool thing to see.
I actually saw a bit of doing some prep for the show. I actually watched a bit. It was actually live today. I watched it live, I guess, right? But yeah, I watched it. So we live streamed on Twitch, and I've got to say again, the word chaos comes to mind as well for me for this. It's pretty mad. I love the fact that innovation. I'm all about testing and trying new things. I think it's a super cool testing ground. Would I watch this long term? Would I follow this? No, I don't think so. I have so many other sporting interests that I just, watching this it just doesn't do much for me, to be honest. I think it's cool from a marketing standpoint. If you get people involved, like influencers, and I think it's cool for just another thing to for people to follow. But I think it lacks this big thing which is so integral to football culture, is building loyalty and a sense of support. When you support a team, like I always joke that you can change your wife, you can change your religion, but you can't change your football team. It's like, it's that undying, support for one's team. It's like, when I went to Anfield, it was more than a religious experience for me. I felt, this is a special sacred place. I'm not sure how they're going to build that kind of loyalty with all the zaniness and stuff at the moment, and in its current form that football has. Is it fun? Yeah, it's hilarious. It's jokes. Does it have? I watched a bit of it, and I expected it to be a lot more skillful than it was, honestly. Like when I watched futsal, and I've seen Ronaldinho, after when he retired, play some futsal. It is amazing, right? Watching him do because he was futsal player that played football, which was he would dance on the pitch. This was absolutely phenomenal, joy to watch. But this has been good. The whole 3 minutes at the end where you could just have these like prison rules. Basically, when I used to play football back at school, you'd have that. But it'd be basically prison rule for the last 3 minutes to see who could score, and you throw each other on the floor on the concrete floor and stuff. It was mad. It reminded me a bit of that. Let's kind of see where it goes. But the level of quality doesn't seem to be there. But honestly, when I watched it, I was like, I played futsal last week. I forgot how fun it was, and the weather was bad, so I played it indoors. So I was like, this is great. When I watch it, I'm like, it makes me want to watch, makes me want to play. And I know that is actually turf. If I'm honest, it's turf. It looks fast. It looks, it makes, if it gets more people interested in the game, then I'm all for it. That's a positive. But
Yeah,
personally, I wouldn't be.
No, I see your point, and I'm feeling as though like you have to look at it through the lens: is this being marketed for you? Yes, you're the football fan, and you have your team from childhood, but the way that the zaniness and the rules are really pushing forward right now, 30 minutes compared to 90 minutes, is a huge difference. And they're packing these matches in on Mondays. I'm more so looking at it for Gen Z. You're using a very strong influencer pitch. You're using a very strong. We know that your time is limited. We know that your attention span is limited. Give us 30 minutes to just give you a good product. And that's the thing that we have to worry about now. How are you going to keep people off of just your phone? And how are you going to get them to actively engage in something? I'm thinking one rule that you could probably do is something that's voter led or voter focused. You put a prompt up while you have a match going and you want to see a rule change within those last 3 minutes. You get some interaction going, and suddenly people feel as though that they're part of the team. And that's how you can grow some actual brand awareness and brand fandom. There's a lot of different ways to kind of go into it, and not just relying off of a name. But I think that's the initial point that they're really trying to sell right now. The world is kind of your sandbox right here. How do we keep this going? And I'm pretty excited to just kind of see where it pushes off. But it's going to have a lot of technical issues to start. I mean, seeing it over in the UK right now, to your point, Dinesh, some of these former players feel as though that they're only doing it half. Like they're only going half speed at it. And you see the ones that are actually trying to play for it. You can see what's going on, but you can see like the energy that the people on the sides are trying to bring into it. So we'll see what happens.
I had a quick question about this. What about the betting component of this? How do we feel about that? Like, is it getting younger people involved in betting? Is this a good thing? Like in terms of, is that being a big push as well with this league, the betting component?
It's a good point. How are you going to regulate that? Somebody shooting from 30 meters out, they get a goal in, it counts for double. Suddenly your 2.5 is gone. Like, what are you going to do?
That's how these parliaments work, isn't it? Right? You have these. I don't, bet, but that's how they work, right? You stack these things.
Right.
Yeah. Like, how are you going to? It would be really difficult to regulate. I'm sure some of the smartest minds that do all of the ads for all of these big sports books probably have a little bit more to offer on that answer, but it's a good question to ask for sure.
One thing I really like about the game, just taking all the betting aside, is that it does, it brings it back to the schoolyard rules and all this. It takes it back to school, and in me, it gives me a little bit of nostalgia of playing back when I was a kid on the turf, and it just like the way they play, the fast paced, really just kind of hectic. That's what I'm kind of enjoying about it, I guess, when I'm watching it, is a bit of a nostalgia. Because, there is definitely no loyalty to the teams. Other than that, for me, it's the loyalty to the managers, if you ask me right now. I like some of the managers, but I don't even know many of the players right now. But I think that's the excitement that's bringing to a lot of the older generation. But again, I don't think this is really made for us. This is definitely made for the younger generation who are trying to break into it. Or at the same time, people who want to watch street ball. And this is an attempt to legitimize street ball, which has always been around, again, with futsal, and to put it on a bigger stage with a bit more crazier rules to bring in this new generation. So again, let's see where it goes. But it's definitely going to get hectic before it gets any more calm. So I'm excited.
For sure. I mean, you got to break a few eggs to figure out like the product itself. We already know that football is huge over in the UK. It's huge in Germany. Football is still growing within the US, and now you're adding a new component within it. I'm looking at it from a US viewpoint, and I'm like, okay, you're really marketing this to Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and you're trying to grab on some of the millennial fans of football that have just gotten into it. And you're using the notoriety of influencers and stars. How are you going to keep pushing this product forward, especially because you're asking for 30 minutes to 3 hours, 6 hours max, if somebody is looking at all of the footage, because on their main website, you can watch all of their games for the week, all right there. It's one really long YouTube clip, and it's about 5.5 hours of footage. We'll see kind of how that would go within the US, because one thing within the US, it's very regional based. Like how people grow their loyalty to their teams is where they're based in their region. So if you're saying that all of these teams are going to be based within one place, where are they all going to play for these Mondays? I've always wondered how people become attached loyalty-wise outside of where you're based off of your region. Reason why I became a big fan of Arsenal, outside of playing the video games with Thierry Henry, was I really dug London, and I was like, okay, what's the squads that are here? And then what is the football being played? I didn't like anything else that I saw. Arsene Wenger just had some amazing things happening at the time. I was like, well, this is my squad. Here we go. We'll see how this really pushes forward, but I'm excited about the opportunity for it to happen within the U.S. Or more sport within the world is a good thing to see.
Yeah, sure. I was to add this on the point of loyalty, though. I think this is an interesting point. Like, if we think about F1, right? With F1, you have the brand, the car makers, right? With the ball league, I don't know how you're gonna have like regions and areas. With the US, you do mention that there are franchises have cities, but in the US, you guys have this crazy thing where a team can just leave the city, right? Just bad. Like the New Jersey Nets just moving to Brooklyn. Like, who do you support now?
Yeah, true.
So, but in the UK, that would never happen. Like, Liverpool wouldn't just move to like Birmingham or something. It just wouldn't happen.
That's happened in the past. Like, didn't MK Dons?
You're right, Wimbledon. Yeah, Wimbledon. Yeah. That happened. Yeah, briefly, that team just went. That's that's an anomaly, though.
It's something.
F6. Yeah. The point where I was going with this was that related to F1. F1 is the comments. What if the loyalty was based on the brand? So what if you had sports like brands basically sponsor each team, because it's all played in the one area, right? Like, you don't have away in, like, let's say in F1, the main reason why it makes it difficult is because just constantly they're on tour all the time. Whereas at the moment, if I understood correctly, with the Baller League, it's in one.
Yeah, it's just in one space,
one stadium, right? So what if it's brands like Nike, Adidas? They have their own. They have Reebok. They have their own teams, and people have their preferences, right? People are like sneakerheads are into, their Adidas or Nike, and you have a team Nike, you have a team, I said Reebok or whatever, and maybe that could be from a business standpoint a huge play as well, because once you've nailed people into a particular sporting brand, they're gonna buy everything, kits, everything with accessories, and it's
for sure. I mean, just looking at the main sponsors right now of the Baller League, you have Pepsi, Nike, Cupra, Foot Locker, Grenade, Phillips, and Head and Shoulders. Those are the ones over in the UK right now. And looking at the teams,
what's the boy Head and Shoulders? I guess.
Exactly.
I mean.
Yeah, it's like, you got to look at the US. Like, it's going to be hard to get some of these bigger brands to be for all of these. And I really understand your point with F1. You have a lot of different cars sponsored by solely brands, but it's going to be difficult in the US. So we'll kind of see how that pushes forward. I mean, with this 12-team league that they have there, we'll see what the US is going to push forward with. But it's going to be really hard for me to say, like, oh, yeah, the Cupra. Well, yeah, all of their teams are named differently over there. Wembley Rangers, Vision FC, you have Deport Trio, United, MVPs United, SDS FC, 26ers. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But it's an exciting prospect,
The one great thing with the States is there's a ton of amateur athletes here. So, they've got in my opinion, I think they've got a great pool of amateur athletes who are likely not going to be playing in the MLS or playing professionally, who can, jump onto these teams as long as they can make a bit of notoriety for themselves, and get noticed. Then, this is almost like, I kind of like this to Above the Rim. I know that's showing my age right there, but I was just like, when they're selecting all the teams,
yeah,
and like if Pac comes out and everything, so I start taking players like, yo, I'm just saying, we don't know what could happen here, and this country loves its smaller leagues. To Dinesh's point earlier, we've got Nike and all these different brands. They've got that for basketball. They've got it for other sports. With the Hoop League and all these other tournaments they do for the future stars. So who's to say that this doesn't become some type of new hybrid feeder league or something that that the brands can get attached themselves to, and we can find a new generation of kind of internet sports figures and superstars. So who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of space. We'll see what happens there. We'd love to know from our listeners and our viewers. What do you think about the Baller League? All right. I believe that is our show for today. I do want to bring up one crazy thing that I saw from the weekend. This just has to be said just because it is such insane things to think about again. In the CONCACAF Champions League, it was LAFC versus Inter Miami. And lo and behold, Luis Suarez decided in the middle of a scuffle to bite out on somebody who was holding him. Now, he didn't know at the time that it was his teammate and former Barcelona teammate as well, Jordi Alba, who he was biting. During the match, which Inter Miami won 3-1, in the 89th minute, there was a brawl. You see Luis Suarez and Jordi Alba and Olivier Giroud all kind of just trying to pull each other off of each other. And during that scuffle, you have Jordi Alba getting bit by Luis Suarez. So I had to bring that up because, of course, of his biting incident back in the day with Branislav Ivanovic of Chelsea. And then as well, back in 2010 with PSV, he bit Otman Bakal. And then the famous one with Chiellini at the 2014 World Cup, where he was suspended for 4 months after biting Chiellini during the match between Uruguay and Italy. Gents, I would love to hear your quick analysis on that one.
The cannibal strikes back.
It's crazy.
He was hungry, man. What can you say? This game is so long. You know, just he just wanted to go in for that.
Yeah, I'm tired of Snaggletooth just going for. You can't just be biting fingers, man. It's an issue.
Did his parents never tell him like you just like never get in trouble for biting? What do you think he was a biter as a kid? And they're just
Had to be.
they're like, Mrs. Suarez, your son bit another child today. Like, it's like he never got disciplined, right? Like, what?
Never got disciplined. Yeah.
Yo, my man, you're a grown ass man. Stop biting people.
Eat before the game.
Exactly. Eat before the game.
Wait, did they win? Did they win that match?
Yeah, they won the match 3-1. They won the match. Yeah. It's crazy. All right. Well, yeah, that is the show. I want to thank everybody again for giving Dem Boys Watch Footy a listen today. Thank you again, Waj, Dinesh. Love to have you back on to the show. Keep bringing you back on, especially with Liverpool winning. Definitely love to hear the analysis there. So for everyone here, it's your boy E. Thanks again.
Next time.